If you've logged into your Google Search Console at all this week, you might have seen some charts that look similar to this. We have seen a dramatic drop in impressions, being that purple line, and a big increase in the average position of your store, which is that orange line. So I just wanted to make a quick video, explain why this is happening, and so hopefully it kind of eases some nerves, because when I first saw this, I was panicking as well. I thought everything was going wrong, but in reality, this is actually potentially giving us more accurate data, which I'll explain in this video. So as you can see here, this is a couple of stores that I manage, and they're all pretty much doing the same thing. We can see up here, this store was getting just over 4,000 impressions daily, and all of a sudden it's down to 2,000 just out of nowhere. And at the same time, the average position has gone from about 33 up to about the 15 mark. Now, this is the exact same for all these other stores. As you can see, this one has dropped, 2,000 impressions as well, and the average position has gone up. This one here went from 35 for 40,000 impressions a day all the way down to 25,000 impressions. But again, the average position has gone up. And so I've seen this across these 4 sites and across many others in my management as well. And when I first saw this, I was panicking. I wondered what was going on. When you first see these different changes in Google, sometimes it can be quite daunting. But I did a little digging, and I wanted to just show why this is happening. So I found this from Brody Clark Consulting. It's pretty much an explanation of the measurement change in Google Search Console. So for an impression to be recorded within Google Search Console, so for this purple line to mark down an impression for your website, the organic listing needs to appear on the current page, and the link needs to be visible to users. The listing itself, if located on the current page, doesn't actually need to be scrolled into view in order to register an impression. So that's an important note there, because if we have a look over here, when you log in and you search for something, right? Let's say this is what I can see. I've got the top 5 results here for, I think this was for searching for running shoes, right? Now, these are all getting impressions right now because they're in my view. However, everything that's below my screen right now is actually loaded in. So I might not necessarily see it, but it's registered as an impression. And so we can see all these other ones down here, they're loaded into the page. And so these are all getting impressions, even though they might not necessarily come into view. And we can see here, for a normal search result, a typical Google user, the current page would be 10 organic listings, as I just showed you there. But rank trackers like Google Search Console and other tools as well, they use 100 organic listings as the default view. And so that results in position 99 necessarily could potentially be getting a impression in your data. And so what we've got here is pretty much this adjustment could potentially mean that we're getting more accurate data, because all these impressions are taking into consideration everything in position 1 to 100. And so that's why quite often you'll see that sometimes you'll have quite low average positions, these ones here, and the average position of 30, because we're getting lots of impressions for results that are showing up way lower down in the search results. Now, if I show you here, I've just duplicated this a bit more. Let's say we search for running shoes, right? And so this one here is the top 10, or the top 9, I should say. And everything else below here is technically getting an impression, even though it's nowhere to be seen, even though it's on the next couple of pages of Google. And so when you're looking at your store and you're looking at your data here, it is actually quite misleading. So for this store here, this was getting just under 6,000 impressions. And I remember specifically for this one, there was, one page in particular that was getting thousands of impressions, but no clicks. And, you wonder why that is. And that's because it's showing up in, the position 30, position 40, and registering an impression, even though it's nowhere to be seen. And so this adjustment, it may be a test from Google. We may see this bounce back, but maybe it's the new normal, where basically they are making sure that in Google Search Console, they're only going to record impressions that are actually on the first page, or essentially on those top 10 positions. And so that's why you'll see this massive increase in average position, because all those lower listings are basically not going to be recorded anymore. So this is one of those stores. And again, if we have a look at the chart, you can see from last week or so, the impressions have dropped from about 36,000 down to 26,000, and the average position has gone from about 11th, 12th up to 7th, right? But if you have a look at the clicks, there's a little dip in the clicks, but this one fluctuates normally. And so the clicks aren't really changing that much compared to what they were doing before. And so just kind of going back to my point where they were getting rid of all these lower listings, it's not really affecting how many people are visiting your site too much. I've got another example here as well. Now, this is another site. Obviously, it's got way less clicks and impressions, so it fluctuates a lot more. But we can see, again, impressions, this actually started dropping a while ago. Notice that there was a change here with one of those sites that were lower down, kind of started to get de-indexed, but we can see this more dramatic drop here, going from about 3833 impressions down to just under 2,000. And the average position has gone from about 34 up to 12th. But again, if you have a look at the clicks, we can see that the clicks have continued, obviously this one fluctuates a bit, but they've continued to go up, and they're still, reaching the highest amount of clicks per day that we've seen. So this big drop is not actually changing much in terms of how many people are visiting your website. It's more just changing the reporting that we're seeing in Google Search Console. So overall, it's nothing to really worry about. While it may look concerning, it may change some of the reporting that we do from an SEO perspective. It doesn't actually change how many people are visiting your website. So something to keep an eye on, but nothing to worry about right now. If you need e-commerce SEO for your brand, click the first link in the description. You can book a call with me and we can discuss if SEO is something that can be done for your brand and is something that's going to help. If not, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.